Hello, everybody, and welcome to this Quantum Compass episode number 4. My name is David, and this is my partner and co-founder of Quantum Planet World,
Alvaran.
So today is a slightly different show from normal. You can see we're in a different setting, and I want to take this opportunity at the beginning of this show, and I'll explain why I'm doing that in a second, to thank each and every one of you who have been so generous and so supportive in your love, your healing energy, and your financial support, because it's been really, really appreciated. And I'm going to take 5 to 10 minutes here just to share the updates. And the reason I'm doing that here with the Quantum Compass is because I'm working with the energy of the Mayan Wave Spells and the astrology. And this Mayan Wave Spell coming up, Bella, that we're going to be talking about today is the energy of the yellow seed, right?
The energy of the yellow seed, yes.
So the energy of the yellow seed, Bella will explain shortly. But first of all, I just wanted to give an update about my situation. So it's been quite the week. It's just over a week now since I had the accident on, strangely, February the 29th, the day I had a time, a day that doesn't really exist.
Just the leap day.
The leap day, yes. There are many, many profound aspects to the accident. Really, actually quite present and conscious for me. And, it's required a very, very calm, very fifth dimensional, non-dual perspective on all of this, because the truth that my feet are in a bad way, and people have been asking me, how are you, David? I'm like, well, actually, I'm doing pretty good, apart from the 2 badly broken feet. And maybe some people might think this is strange that I'm doing a video here. Well, there are 2 reasons for that. First of all, I didn't fall on my head. I'm not mentally impaired, and I love doing this work, and I need to keep myself occupied, and I need to keep myself in a high vibration, because I definitely do have low moments. My life has changed immeasurably in every possible way. I'm literally immobilized, living on a mattress in our front room, which is where we are right now. So hence the slightly wobbly screen, because my feet are resting on the mattress here. And this week has needed a very, very calm head from me, most of all, but also my beautiful partner, Bella, who's been restructuring everything here. She had to come from Texas, where she was with some of her family, and to come and help restructure. I've been blessed enough to have a huge amount of support, not just from all of you wonderful people who will see this video, and all of our beautiful Quantum Plant Healing tribe, and of course all the wonderful people from Pam Gregory's audience. Everybody has contributed in the most profound of ways. I've definitely cried quite a bit. I've been overwhelmed with the level of healing energy and love that I've received. I think it's probably the first time I've ever received anything like that in my life, and that is also part of the process for me. There are many, many profound things going on here, but I just want to take a few moments to expand on that and to perhaps share why I'm okay mentally and how I'm going to work with this, because we've been spending time finding the right surgeon, the right hospital, the right location, and even the right materials. And as we've talked about many times on many other videos, this is quite a toxic time in our world. And as many of you all know, I'm a big advocate of quantum and plant healing, and not so much Western medicine. But I've also said on many occasions that sometimes you need Western medical surgeons, and I'm going to need that. So it would have been easy to have been rushed into a poor decision earlier in the week. We heard lots of horror stories. There are many of them here in Mexico, and I imagine many other countries too. So I wanted to take time to gather the information, have lots of wonderful contacts. So many people have sent beautiful, really relevant healing modalities, many of which we're going to use post-operation. My operation will take place during this wave spell, the yellow seed, which Bella's are going to talk about. And this particular wave spell that we've been in is with the magic of the blue monkey, which we've also been holding an oak immersion. So there are many, many beautiful, profound things that have emerged out of this, because the oak itself is about structure, about time, about integrity, about sovereignty, about strength. And for sure, I've joked with our tribe, are we making a movie about this maybe in 2027? So watch your local cinemas in 27 for the movie about this. But working with astrology, specifically my own, but also working with the energy of the wave spell of the white mirror, which was the run-up to the wave spell we're in and the oak immersion, it came to me very clearly that I needed to still complete some shadow work, which I did. It was difficult, but I'm a medicine man, so I'm used to it. And I went into that space and did that work. And thank God that I did, because having now taken assessments from a number of very profound higher dimensional beings and other beautiful people, it's very clear that my entire energy field is completely intact, which it wasn't before this accident happened. So in that regard, what has happened here is the three-dimensional culmination of a lot of energetic work that had made me whole again, which is why I'm completely okay mentally. For me to be immobilized, as many of you who know me, is a little challenging because I'm quite a high energy person. But I've been told that I need to be still. In fact, I've been calling on rest for myself and many other things. I needed to take some time off. And I, in many ways, at some high dimensional level, agreed to all of this. Now, if you'd say that, David, you're going to agree to jump off a ledge and break both your feet, no, of course I wouldn't do that. So that is not something that I agreed to, but I did agree on an energy level that I wanted my life to change. And most of all, I called healing from my body, which has really been a lifelong problem for me, particularly in my legs and my knees and many other things. And the crazy thing is that when I fell, it was a fall of about 12 foot into an empty fish pond. And I came down, and as I've joked, I landed a 10, 2 feet side by side, absolutely nailed it. Process nailed my feet too. But the damage is very, very minimal in that regard. No broken knees, no broken hips, no broken spine, and my head all in one place. So
2 broken heels.
2 broken heels, yeah, that's not great because it's a very fragile part of the body, and you know, it means that I am completely immobilized, and it's going to take 6 to 8 months of recovery. It's going to require me to be very, very still, very, very patient, and not always qualities that I've necessarily had in the best abundance in my life. But now I'm going to use this opportunity to transform myself, which is also part of what we're going to talk about in today's show with the astrology. So the reason I wanted to put this update at the beginning of this video is partially because I want to demonstrate how when working with this energy, we can start to deal with trauma, deal with accidents, but in a new way. I am alchemizing the energy of my accident with all of your help, of course, to transform myself, to transform my body, and to transform my life into the place that I want it to be. I'm not going to lie, I am in a lot of pain, lots of high-powered painkillers, and they wear off and it hurts. But in between, I'm meditating and taking the time to be calm and look forwards positively. Because if I don't, well, then I leave doors open for lower frequency energies to come and mess with me and paint all kinds of terrible pictures. So that's not an option for me. I don't want that. So that's it, really. I've made some notes here. I think I've covered everything.
Do you want to cover a little bit about the oak teachings about victimhood and sovereignty?
Yeah, so we were talking in the oak immersion that we're currently running in quantum plant healing. And of course, this happened on the day at a time, which was the second day of the immersion. And it's really interesting to see what has happened. It's galvanized our community into a place of high frequency love and support, and not just within our tribe, of course. Many of you watching Pam's video too have reached out, and I never realized how much you all cared. So that's really touched me deeply. But in this cycle that I have been in, because this is not the first time this had happened to me, really consecutively at many key points in my life, victimhood had got imprinted into my body. Not my mind, I'd already worked on that, but my body was carrying traumas that I couldn't get fixed. And so I'd become aware of this. I'd even talked about it with our tribe. And subsequently, many of our tribe have reached out and said, hey, now that we're all thinking about what you said, David, we're all, well, many of them are realizing that they too have that sense. And perhaps as a species, humanity is carrying some sense of victim because we've been victimized and we've been manipulated through our traumas, and the cycles keep perpetuating. For me, it required a leap of faith, you could say, not consciously, but it happened, and a break. The break is significant.
Fragmentation.
Fragmentation, which is interesting because that is what I've been working on at a soul level, is fragmentation of my soul. And I've done some deep work into the underworld to recover some aspects of myself that were still playing up. The inner saboteur, in many ways, is an interesting character. And I'm going to make some videos about that in the future because I now have a much clearer idea of really who the inner saboteur is. And to my surprise, I realized that the person hurting me the most in my life was actually me, not David, but other aspects of me that were unintegrated and had unresolved traumas in other, we can say, timelines, dimensions, past lives, however you wish to view that. So I'm not carrying any sense of victim now. In fact, quite the opposite. I feel quite blessed to have gone through this process. For sure, I don't want to have 2 broken feet, but I am receiving all of the blessings that this can offer. And I say this because we're at a time when many of us could feel like we're victims. Why is this happening to me? Why is this kicking off in my life? Why am I The list is endless. But We all have the power to be our own inner alchemists and to transform what seems like adversity into victory. And that is for sure my motif moving forwards. And with the energy of the yellow seed wave spell, I'm now planting seeds for my future self, coming very quickly towards me to be everything that I know that I can be at a holistic level and whole, which is really one of the great teachings of the oak. The oak wants us to be whole in our entirety, in our full alignment and full integrity. So I think that's it.
Yeah, sovereign and flexible.
Sovereign and flexible. That is my future. And as Pam says, I am sovereign, I am flexible, and I am everything that Davyd could possibly be. So
right.
Now I'm going to hand over to the expert for today's show. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Thank you again for all of the wonderful support. I will take time in the future to respond to the many of you who've sent wonderful things through. But for now, let's have a look at what the future holds for us coming up.
Yes, I want to send special thanks to our group of Rainbow Bridge Warriors, is all of the initiates of all of the path that we have created within quantum plant healing. They have become super spiritual warriors. The healing that we've received from them has been absolutely amazing. The support from everybody that has been following Pam as well. So thank you, everybody, for hearing our call of for help. And we have received so many blessings after that. So thank you so much. Right, and we want to do our quantum compass because it is really important that we understand how time and timing is crucial to all of the process of evolution we're going through. And it's really important to understand that being within a container, you can understand and deal with processes as tough as the one that Davyd is going through, we're going through, but especially Davyd. But it could be applied to absolutely any process. And when we start switching from the energy or the frequency of 1260, which is the regular Gregorian irregular calendar, which doesn't make sense, inorganic, that doesn't make sense, and we go into the 3020, then you can realize that you can deal with most processes and put your co-creation energy into it, because it is connected to our body, to natural cycles of time, to sacred geometry. All of our articulations are part of these the 13 system, and our fingers and toes are also connected to this natural cycle, which is the period of gestation, and it's more of what we want to share on how to work with it. This is the whole womb or matrix, organic matrix, and the column that we see highlighted here in yellow, excuse me, it's the one that we are going to enter with the yellow seed, and it starts on the 13th of March.
Yeah.
And what this wave spell is going to show us is it's the point of creation, is the point to get your soil ready, fertile, and to put your seed, to get ready to create, and to understand that there are many possibilities, but all of those possibilities depend on you being present and getting rid of all of the limitations from the past. So this is the highlight. Another very important thing about these next 13 days, starting on the 13th of March, is that we will have 10 galactic portals. And what is that? It's days where the frequency is much higher and you can access more information. So if you want to get more ideas, more downloads for what you actually want to create, is a perfect time to do so. And that would be starting on the 15th of March for whole 10 days. And this is the glyph. It's called the yellow seed. I've shown two different types of, let me see if I can highlight this. Learning to do lots of things with this. So here we can see one style of the glyph, and here is another one, which is a little bit more traditional and closer to the real Mayan designs. And we understand that what is happening here is the Mayans had already understood how there were many cycles that were connected to other bigger cycles. So here you can see the 13 tones, and here is the wheel of the 20 glyphs that we work with, and then they connect to another cycle, which is the half cycle, and then there is a great cycle, and all of these we will cover in the Mayan course. But it's just so that you understand that it's just an absolutely huge mechanism that is natural, is cycle upon cycle. And this is the actual archetype. The name in Mayan is Can. And the keywords and qualities that I want you to connect with for this next wave spell is sitting your manifestation. So what do you want to manifest? And because we are about to start a whole new astrological year, you could be thinking of a much bigger cycle of something that you want to create. Creation, self-germination, gestation process, possibilities. Do not limit yourself to, oh, it's because I don't have the money, or I don't have the contacts, or I'm too old, or I'm too young, or whatever. Do not limit yourself of the possibilities that could happen. Act upon your inspiration, not according to limitations. And be ready to initiate creative ideas, things that you haven't dared to do before. This is a perfect moment to put all of those seeds. The shadow of this archetype is fear, insecurity, remaining in the comfort zone, which is what we've done for eons. So there's no more time to do that. You know, we're ready. We've been doing a lot of shadow work. And this last wave spell of the blue monkey showed us so many things about healing our inner child, healing of anything that we haven't dealt with before, and bringing more joy into our lives, and the ability to weave time and to just see the possibilities. And here we come into the yellow seed. The other shadow, part of the shadow, is lack of confidence. So we also want to deal with that. As I was saying before, no limitations or lack of confidence, so that we can jump into the transformation of this, which is realizing that you're a co-creator of your life and allowing your dreams and new possibilities to be planted. If you want to connect more with the archetype, you can draw, you can see the drawing here, the design. Just try to connect with the energy. Remember, is what is going to kind of guide the next 13 days. And the final message here is: be the fertile ground for your new reality and become the seed of enlightenment.
So Bella, maybe I can just make a comment there too, actually, as I was reading the slide. So it's very interesting for me that as a society, we are filled with fear, and actually we're filled with fear of our own freedom. And there's many reasons for that. We've been under very, very oppressive energies for a long time, probably the last 4,000 years, and that's kept us in the comfort zone. And that comfort zone is filled with the distractions of everyday life, the television, the holidays, the sports games. Not that there's anything wrong with any of those, but what those things do is, when we're constantly in that space, it's keeping us away from allowing ourselves to be our creative self. We're living in somebody else's creative dream and allowing ourselves to become in a place of a lack of confidence. And when we step up to being sovereign, we're allowing ourselves to access to the full potentiality of the universe and of our fullness of ourselves, right?
The higher version of ourselves. That's right. Right, and here we have the actual wave spell, which is the 13 different steps of every day, starting on the 13th of March. And on day one, what we want to do is to identify the purpose of what you want to achieve, change, improve, create, or anything. On day two, you identify the challenges that could happen. On day three is identify how you can bring whatever you want to create into service for others. Day four is the day that you give form to all of this creation, and so forth. We cover all of this in the Mayan course. But the most important thing is just identify your intention for this wave spell. What do you want to seed? And each one of those days is just that energy, that tone, that galactic signature that is like the keys to other dimensions, where you can actually get the downloads according to the energies that are available to us. So there are just natural codes that connect us to other dimensions. Anything?
Yeah, I was just going to say that just to emphasize what I was saying at the beginning in my sharing, it's the process of the blue monkey and the magic that I have been working with using exactly this template to progress through my healing to come to this particular way as well, which I'm going to use for the first steps in healing. So we can start to understand how we can use each one of these days, which is exactly what we've been doing during the last week or so, to progress our plans. And each wave spell follows one to the other. And once you get into that cycle, you start to understand how incredibly profound it all is.
To use you as an example, I'm sorry. I mean, all of the surgeries and everything we're going to do for this next wave spell are guided by this. So we follow whatever we feel is the best day for surgery, for recovery, for manifestation, for transcendence, all of those things. Right. And then we have the questions, which are the reflective questions that you could ask yourself every single day of those 13 days. And to finish on the Mayan presentation, time is the evolution of consciousness and time is art. So try to create something that you have wanted to create for a long time, but now is a perfect opportunity, especially both because of the astrological conditions and the Mayan wave spell. We're still within this womb, and we have those 10 galactic portal days that are just very conducive for us to do this work.
They are, and as we move now into the second part of this show, we're going to have a little look at the upcoming astrological transits, and most astrologers, ourselves included, would concur that March and April are really, really powerful, and March is setting up the big eclipse that's coming in April, but we have, first of all, the beginning of the new astrological year, which is, of course, the Aries Equinox. And this equinox in particular, do you want to put up the chart there, maybe, Bella? We can have a look at. There are a number of things happening on consecutive days. So we're only going to use one chart, but Bella's very handily highlighted here the various different aspects of it. So the green is here. This is in Pátzcuaro time here in Mexico, Central Standard Time. 0 degrees, the sun enters the energy of Aries. And this is a chance for us to set really big, high new intentions for ourselves. And we can become a new person. You know, again, I'm using myself as a very sort of 3D example here. I'm using this opportunity to really align myself with the energies of the yellow seed, with the energies of the Aries equinox. And of course, Aries is very much about self, and we can take the time to set these intentions for ourselves. So that is on the 19th of March, at least it is here in Mexico. I think maybe for some people it's the day before. So the following day, we also have what I think is probably quite a challenging, but I think important conjunction, which is Mercury conjuncting Chiron. Now, the degrees are not exact because we're taking this on the 19th, but you can see that they're already very, very close and within 1 degree. And this is really a chance for us to examine our wounds and perhaps discover some of the hidden truths behind all of it, particularly maybe childhood stuff, maybe difficult familial situations, maybe difficult siblings or parents, or maybe even teachers in our life, and to look at the root causes of our woundings. Again, you know, Chiron. In the run up to the blue monkey wave spell, my healing work really in the higher dimensional spaces, but particularly the shadow realm of the lower astrals, was working with Chiron and Pluto. Both very, very present for me, working with my sacred medicines. And so we have another opportunity here to work with anything that perhaps has not been resolved. So it could be a little challenging, but again, we can turn adversity or challenge into something positive. So that's on the 20th of March. That's day 8 of the wave spell. The following day, Venus conjunct Saturn at 20 degrees of Pisces. So
12, no?
Sorry, 12 degrees of Pisces, my bad. Yes, you're absolutely correct. And, you know, Venus is really a lot about our subjective values, preferences, likes and dislikes. And of course, Saturn is very much about structure and our reality. And I feel like as Saturn moves through Pisces, we're being very literally forced to reassess the structure of our lives, even the structure of our bodies, and to make adjustments. And again, I really hope that you don't all have to break things literally in your body to do that, but maybe we have to break cycles. We have to break patterns. Maybe we even have to break relationships. Maybe that's some of the energy of it, to maybe not break them permanently, but to redefine them, to recalibrate them.
karmic cycles and loops that need to be left behind.
Yeah.
And so that we can come into a new conception, what do you want to create? What is the new journey you want to take? And here is where we want to be highly intentional when moving forward. Here's where you put all of your seeds, and you're where I can actually reinvent myself. I can put myself together again.
Right, reassemble ourselves, reassemble our lives, and for sure, even just in the space of 1 week, we've had to radically restructure many things. I'm discovering my habitation in a new way, having to restructure simple things. How do I turn on a light? How do I change my clothes? All of those kinds of basic things have all now become very different, and I'm having to use different parts of my body in a new way. So this is a really, really important, but also it's Venus, so it doesn't have to be so challenging. There can be this kind of energy of how to say our emotions, but also something that's more intuitive and coming from our innermost desires. How can we work with the Venus energy to shape our Saturn structure into something that works for us? March the 22nd, day 10, day of manifestation. Mars is entering Pisces. We can see it here on the 19th that it's already at 27. And yeah, Mars in Pisces is a strange one, really. For me, it works because being Scorpio, Mars is an energy that I like, and I'm also Pisces rising. So it's a kind of more of a chameleon energy, I would say, that perhaps a flexibility and adaptability are there, but also the energy of the shapeshifter and seeing how we can metamorphose ourselves, our environment, our structure, working with the energies of the previous days and this new motif of new me, new earth, a new community, all of these different things. And also, I love this really, seeing how the energy of everything is interconnected, because nothing happens in isolation, nothing happens randomly, nothing is really an accident. And I know that for very dualistic individuals and dualistic thinking, that can be hard to understand. And perhaps even some of what I've showed already might be jolting for people, but we can alchemize and transform anything. And I think the Mars entering Pisces is going to give us some of that ability. So that's the first chart, and then of course the biggie that's coming up is the last day of this wave spell, which is the full moon lunar eclipse at 5 degrees of Libra. That happens around about 2 o'clock here, 2 a.m. in the morning, Central Standard Time. I think the clock to check, so that could be 9 a.m. UTC. I'd have to check that, but you can check your own local clocks. There's also a big energy of Pluto trining the moon, which is worth looking at. You can see that big blue line there. I mean, we're showing these charts, and each one of these is worthy of showing itself. And there are many other great astrologers out there sharing a lot of information around those. And that's not necessarily the point of this particular quantum compass, or indeed the show in general. But what I understand from this energy is we're going to have to now look at the dynamics of relationships. That's what Libra is all about, right, Bella?
Yeah, seeing the other side of the story, what the other person has to say, what the other person is contributing to yourself and to the relationships that you're having.
And as an amateur astrologer, I do look at lots of other people's work, and there's one that I always read, which I'd like to give a big shout out to, which is Astro Butterfly. I don't think she makes any videos, but she always sends a wonderful newsletter, and she described this as focusing on the we rather than the 2 times me. And I like that. It's like, how do we start to bring our energies together so that we're more of a conjoined force? And that's something that me and you've been doing since we met, right?
A lot, but also with our community. The biggest learning from this experience and this situation that we're having with Davyd is to see the community, how they've come together, not only in our tribe, in Quantum Planet Healing, Quantum Planet World, but even the community with astrologers that follow Pam. And also our village. This village in Mexico has gotten activated as well. And we've got so much help in the last few days. It's been incredible to see all these people come together to help us. So that's been really beautiful.
It's been really beautiful. And I somehow probably don't think too many of our local community here are going to see this video. In the Great Leafers, I wish to thank all of the beautiful brothers and sisters who stepped up and out and into our lives over the last week or so. And I've been blown away by that too. It's been a challenging ride for all of us over the last few years, and maybe some of us have felt isolated, and that was something that we wanted to change. And it was in my prayers for us and for our New Earth community moving forwards. And it's allowed us to open the doors, it allowed me to open my heart more to many things, to receive from all of you wonderful people who've sent the love and generosity, but also from my local community who've come into our space for the first time and assisted Bella particularly in restructuring everything, because much to my frustration at various points, I can't do that much for myself right now. And that's something I'm having to learn to be still. Yeah. So anyone's ever met me in my life, it's a difficult challenge. But we come to the final part of today's show, Bella, and we've selected this plant as our suggested ally.
Did it select us though?
Well, it's the selector, the Dandelion Selector. And this is a plant that many of you will know. I'd be surprised if anyone on the planet doesn't know dandelion. And there are many, many things to say about this. We have a wonderful immersion that we have on quantum plant healing that many people have done. And we genuinely believe that dandelion is the architect of 5D living and being. You want to say a few more words, Bella?
Yes, I think when I was saying about us becoming the seeds of enlightenment, dandelion came to my mind. You know, it's the seeding that we want to do, and the seeding happens being in the present moment. When you're in the present moment, you're creating the future. The future is only a huge amount of possibilities that you can only create if you're in your heart and you're present in every moment, and with a lot of optimism, which is what dandelion teaches us and has taught us so many times.
Right.
Be joyful, be in your heart, be positive, be optimistic, and then see what the future is going to bring for us. So we've had a long run with dandelion, and it's been amazing.
Yeah, dandelion really tells us to pay attention to what is going on now, right now, around you, in every moment. And, you know, what is also really fascinating as we come to the final stages of the oak immersion is to see the correlation between oak and dandelion in relation to time. Now, oak is really about connecting to the cosmic time and understanding how, and perhaps this is something to share also, how our future selves can work to heal our past selves, but in the moment, in the now, in the present. And dandelion is the plant that keeps us in the present. So there is kind of a big brother, little brother connection between dandelion and oak. And we've explored that in detail in both the dandelion and the oak immersion. But we're sharing here because these are two beings, powerful beings, very powerful beings, quantum beings, high dimensional beings who come to show us the fallacies of the time matrix that has been imposed on us and to show that it's an illusion. And really, there is only one moment, and it's an unending, eternal moment that we're always in. But if we're not paying attention and our head's like, hey, I'm doing that thing next week, or still living in the past, we're not here. And we need to be here because if we're not here, well, then we're going to miss a lot of things. And we've said many times that magic is around us. Magic is everything. And the dandelion wants to show us the magic of our existence and to bring us into the place where we can be aligned and centered, perhaps with the help of the oak, so that we can use the wonderful dandelion seed head to blow our prayers for ourselves and our community into existence. And yeah, and of course, dandelion is also a great plant for detoxing too.
Yes, yeah, we go more into the physical part of it in our immersion, but for now, if you just start calling dandelion into your life, especially for those 13 days, it's the perfect time to, it's timing. It's all about timing and being in the present moment and healing timelines. If you're interested in that, definitely dandelion and oak were the teachers for that.
And also, just to say, another great aspect of dandelion is his ability to change his DNA at will.
DNA as well.
And, you know, we've probably shared a little bit in other videos, but the tampering with our DNA, that's a long story in another video, perhaps for another time. But really and truly, we need to start repairing our DNA. I'm sure many of you will understand what we're talking about. Events of the last 4 years have messed with many people's DNA and perhaps even as a side effect, others too. But the dandelion shows us that it can adapt and grow literally anywhere. And actually seems to take a delight in growing in the cracks and showing, hey, look what I can do. I can be here. This is magic. And this is something about the adaptability and flexibility of this wonderful.
And the dandelion immersion is the one that has the most people in our group. So if any of you guys are watching this video, please share, what did dandelion teach you? Because there were so many beautiful teachings about it. So if you want to share in the notes, that'd be great, because it was really, it's been one of the, it's the first immersion that came through, orchestrated by dandelion and 26-dimensional beings.
Right.
And so we're very proud of that immersion and what came through that.
I mean, we call ourselves quantum plant healing, but really and truly, I would say that the totem plant that has always been with us that helped create this was dandelion, or El Dandelero, as we sometimes
and
call it.
Behind the curtains, it was oak. We just didn't understand it until now. It's good. Right. So this is the end of the show. I'd like to share that in spite of the situation, I'm still going ahead with the Mayan Time and Magic course. It's still within the early bird release until the 12th of March. There is a discount price. And if you want to access it, this is the themes. We're going to cover the history of time and ancient calendars, the different Mayan calendars, the different cycles, the long counts, and all of the things that I normally talk about. So you learn to do it yourself, about galactic and planetary influences, about the archetypes, about your galactic signature, what can you do with it, how do you activate yourself, and how can you use it for the future.
And I would just like to add to this that Bella wasn't sure whether to continue with this, and I was really insistent that I think this is really, really important because we're learning how to work with these wave spells and the energy of mind time for healing and for magic and for manifestation. And when we work within these 13-day containers, whether it's as an emotional, just in our own processes, it's what has kept me going, knowing that within this 13 days that we're in the moment, solutions are going to come. And in the next 13 days, the surgery is going to come, and I'm going to keep working and rolling. So for me, it's actually this process, working with mind time, working with astrology, and of course working with plants to heal, that is keeping me in the high vibration that I need to be, so that I don't go to any lower frequency places, which could open lower frequency doorways, which actually might impair or hinder my healing process. So we're really trying to show how we can keep elevating or elevating ourselves to a different kind of frequency, and not just to be there temporarily and in sync, but to hold that frequency. So
besides, because we need to make sure that we keep on co-creating with the time, with the cycles, and with the time system that is organic and that is for our benefit. We can again be co-creators, and it's not the outside world and the Gregorian irregular system and the other systems and institutions that have been controlling our reality. So we can actually empower ourselves to create the reality we want moving forward.
right.
That's it.
So no, really, I think we said as much as we need to say for this particular wave spell. Again, just want to say a huge level of thanks to everybody, and I want to say a huge level of thanks to my beautiful partner for everything that she's done, but also for bringing this wonderful teachings into my life. This is a lineage that Bella is deeply imbued with in her sense of being, and is now stepping out and sharing with the world so that we can all benefit from it. So really want to invite you to step into the space with the course or just by watching these videos, but we're trying to change the nature of our reality, everybody, and the nature of time, and to make it something that is much more tangible and coherent. We've been living in an incoherent world now for several millennia, and that needs to change. And as part of that, healing and realignment and recalibration is something that we all have to go through, but we don't have to be afraid. We can actually be excited by seemingly challenging situations. So yeah. I'd like to leave you with that.
And again, thank you for all the healing, the generosity, the messages, everything. I think it has really touched us and humbled us to see that the message is getting somewhere, and that Davyd is loved in many places all around the planet. So thank you so much.
And I'd also just love to put a huge shout out to the wonderful sister Pam Gregory, who's been such an inspiration in my life and has enabled so much to happen, not least of all of this, for me and Bella to connect. And also to our wonderful sister Janet Trolawa, who channels the 26th dimensional ascended master Zach, because these have been key players. And again, everything with these people has been about timing. So open your hearts, open your imagination, everybody, and you might be surprised by what can happen in your life. Blessed be.
A wonderful wave spell.